For years now, Nintendo has been making the classic 2D side-scroller Mario titles. Back in the day with the normal Super Mario, and later on the new Super Mario series. However, now that the 3DS is on its way out, and the Nintendo Switch has completely taken over, will they make more of these games? Well, let's find out. Alright, first up we need to know why this entire series was even created in the first place, and for this we will have to go back in time a bit. Now, New Super Mario Bros. Basically became a thing when the Nintendo DS was launched. However, it wasn't a launch title. The first Mario game to hit that console was actually the Super Mario 64 remake, however after that they needed something new. However, this whole period in Nintendo history was extremely odd. They hadn't released a 2D side-scroller game in over 13 years. The last one that hit the scene was Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins from 1992 for the original Game Boy, their previous handheld system. So they wanted to bring back this style of game making, but this time in a more modern package. The side-scrolling 2.5D action-adventure platformer game for the Nintendo DS, starring Mario and Luigi, was similar in a lot of ways, but also different. The game features a solo story mode with Mario or Luigi, which took heavy inspiration from the original Super Mario Bros. Series. But this time, a 2-player wireless game, Mario vs. Luigi, as well as minigame modes for up to 4 players were added. While the older games had similar features, everyone could notice that this was a huge step up, and it was all possible because of the resources available. The game was a huge hit, and Nintendo ended up making more, and more, and more, supplying the DS, 3DS, and Wii U with them for years. However, now that this entirely new console with a completely different hybrid life mindset is here, will they continue this game series, and if so, for how long? Well, to find the answer to this, I've come up with a couple of important questions that I will try to answer. Is the series successful enough? How fitting is it for the Switch? And are there any new ideas left? Let's start with our first point, and for this we will look at only one thing. The sales charts of these games. When you examine it as a whole, you can see that Nintendo made a lot of money off of this series, selling over 82 million copies. However, there's one trend that you can see right away, which might be a problem. A big one. The first game sold over 30 million, and even the second one reached that as well. But the third one only sold around 12 million, and it goes downhill from there. New Super Mario Bros. U, which was the most recent title, only ended up selling 5.7 million, which is way lower compared to the previous ones. So throughout the years, they have been slowly losing their impact, and every game started to sell less than the previous one. Now, could a completely new game for the Switch reverse this at all? Well, actually, it has a really good chance to do so, because some of these later games were released on the Wii U, which was Nintendo's biggest commercial failure ever. While the new hybrid console is actually setting new records, even outperforming the Nintendo Wii. So maybe this could be the right moment to revive the series, or spice it up a little and give it a grand opening again on the Nintendo Switch. This brings us to our second question. How fitting is it for this console? Well, for this we will look at the overall features of all the games to see if they fit with the concept of the Switch. Now, as we all know by now, the idea behind the whole device is being able to play at home, on the go, and anywhere with friends. Even the controller can be split for some 2-player action, which works especially well with 2D games. And the new Super Mario Bros. Series actually has a lot of different features that could fit very well in a new game with this console. For example, the Coin Rush mode, which was seen in New Super Mario Bros. 2. It can be played only as one player and can be unlocked by clearing either the castle or the cannon levels of the first world. In this mode, the player as Mario or White Raccoon Mario must race through 3 random courses without losing a life, and while collecting as many coins as possible. However, this could work as a 2-player game as well, and in other titles there were a ton of mini-games and special modes that would also be fun. From free-for-all run-throughs of the levels, to Mario vs. Luigi, which is a race for big stars. All of this could work extremely well on the Switch. You can play levels with friends on the big screen, and even when you're on the go, minigames would be great for short play sessions. Besides that, these games could easily run on the Switch, and the battery won't suffer as much as it does with games like Super Mario Odyssey. So, to be honest, this would be a perfect fit for the console, and they could even develop it in a short amount of time, making it a great in-between game, while the core developers are working on the next big 3D Mario title. However, are there any good ideas or concepts even left for this whole series? There are 5 games in total after all. Well, there's actually one theme that I want them to explore that could fit very well. Why not combine old 3D Mario worlds with the style of this game? It would be similar to Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, where they had the Super Mario Odyssey worlds. But why stop there? They could also add locations from Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario 64. Possibly as an extra or DLC. This would be especially interesting in these games because of the power-ups that could play a completely new and possibly cool role. They were never seen in those games after all, only some minor ones like the Vanish Cap, but more iconic 2D power-ups like the Mega Mushroom, Fire and Ice Flower, Propeller Mushroom and more weren't seen at all. They could also use these worlds for bonus modes and mini-games, because there are quite a lot of things that we've seen in other games that could be used. Just as an example, a girder jumping minigame set in New Donk City, or a cheap water race set in Lake Kingdom. And of course a ton of the old ones could also return, because modes like Mario vs Luigi and Coin Rush were a lot of fun. Another thing they could do is change the boss fights, because in every one of them we have battled the koopalings. While I like them and I think they aren't a bad boss, it all becomes a bit stale and they have already done so many things with them that there isn't a whole lot left. So personally, I would say it's time for some new ones, and for this I actually have 2 in mind. The Broodals and Boom Boom. The Broodals were only really seen in Odyssey, which is a 3D title, and Boom Boom was only seen in a handful of games, so they haven't really been explored fully. The Broodals would be cool to see in a 2D setting, and Boom Boom never played a big role, so it would be interesting to see that happen. They could be a fun replacement of the koopalings, or even alongside them if the game would be big enough. So when looking at all of this, how the game works, the concept of the Nintendo Switch, which is extremely fitting for the series, and the possible things Nintendo could do with it all, I would say it could easily work. Now, I have criticized the new Super Mario Bros. Series before, because to be honest, it can be a bit simple and similar to each other at times. However, I bet it can totally work with the Switch, even more so than the DS or Wii consoles. So I really hope that they will release more. So maybe one day, we will see new Super Mario Bros. Switch, or even new Switch, on the store shelves in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry for my sore throat. It's a bit screwed for some reason. I still hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell button, give me a like, leave a comment, and we're all Gucci.